Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is General Dreams. I'm Mike. So today we're going to work on the JK. So what we got is this Smittybilt tire carrier. So we finally stepped up the Jeep to 35's. Can't get back very well. I'll try getting over here, see if you can see. Took off the smaller tires and got some 35's on it. It just has a 2.5-inch lift and they fit. Eventually I'll bump that up to probably a 5-inch lift. But of course the spare tire doesn't fit. And since we have this bumper here, doesn't have provisions for a tire carrier, and I don't really feel like taking the time to build one. So we decided to go with this here. And I've seen lots of different reviews on several different brands, and they claim that they can hold up to a 37-inch tire. And I've seen some other channels that have similar ones, different brands, but they're running bigger tires than that and go out and off-road with them, 39's and 40's hanging on them. So I thought I'd give it a try. It all comes in that little box. This piece here is cast aluminum. The rest of the stuff is steel. It's got a decent looking finish on it. Now one thing that I did learn, I just washed this and backed it in here so I can work on it, but there's this vent in here. I don't know if I can see it. You might be able to make that out. Anyway, so that's called a tailgate exhauster, and I ran out and bought a brand new one, because what happens is these little louvers here, they just fall off. I've heard people, I was on the internet last night looking at a bunch of different things. Some people say they fell off right away, some people they last years. But since you can actually change that with a stock mount, but by the time you put this mount on, and you see how thin it is, there's no way to change it without taking that off again. So I ran out to a dealer that had one in stock. We're going to go ahead and throw in a new one. So what else do we want to talk about before we get started? This and that are all for a third light, the brake light. So if you're not doing a brake light, you don't have to do any of that. Someday I'd like to put the brake light in the center of the wheel. I think it's a lot cleaner. Then I'd be able to get rid of all that. You can see it in this picture here, how you got all that sticking up behind the tire. Good thing is, might be able to utilize that for a CB antenna mount or something like that. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and dry this off. You're supposed to put some wedges of wood underneath there to hold the tailgate up, and I'll go ahead and remove that. Remove these holes here. Oh, I just remembered what I forgot to get. Looks like I'm gonna have to run the work. You're supposed to have some blue Loctite when you put these back together, and all I have is red Loctite. So I'll go ahead and dry that off, get it ready, and then I'll run the work and get some Loctite from there. Certainly no one's gonna be open. Anyway, once I get that off, I was going to take some polish and clean the tailgate before I put the new thing on. You have to remove this one right here because that new bracket goes right across there. And I did not see anything in there for filling that hole. So I'll probably look through my stuff, see if I have something that can fill that hole. And this one I don't think you have to take off. it's not going to touch anything, but at least it's plugging the hole. All right, well, we'll get torn into it, and I'll bring you back and show you as we go along the process. Okay, so you can see I've got a little cleaning to do. I've got some mud around here. And here's that tailgate exhauster. See how it's missing a couple of them. So that'll just let dust and dirt and water and all that get in there. So I'll put a new one on when I do that. And when I was unscrewing these, I was noticing that they're black and they're the same size head as these. And you're supposed to reuse the factory hardware. So I'm going to examine those close. If these and these bolts, which are right here, if they're the same thing, I'll use these instead of having some red bolts showing through the holes. I'll have black bolts showing through. And the only red bolt you'll see is that one, because that one will be right there showing all the time. So after I get it all done, I can reach in there and put a little touch-up paint on it. These say 8.8 on them, so if those ones do also, that means they're the same grade. So it don't look like it did a very good wash job. That's what happens when you're in a hurry. All right, do some cleaning and get back at it. Okay, well, my bumper doesn't really allow you to put a block under there, because the bumper in the back of the the bottom of the tailgate and the bumper are pretty close to in line. So you put something in there and it, you know, it just wants to lift up. So the body lines are all in line. When you follow this crease across, they're in line. So I just put a whole bunch of tape on it, and we'll see how well that holds it. And if it sags some when I pull it off, I just got to lift it back up, because I know that the body lines were in line. So that's what I'm going to try. Wish me luck. Here we go. Okay, you kind of see a little wrinkle in the tape there. A little wrinkle right there. So it actually come out more than down. So it hasn't moved very far. I think it's just the weather stripping kind of pushing it out. So I might put a couple more pieces of tape on there to hold that, because I still gotta wipe this down, clean all this stuff up before I put that new piece on. So I'll get after it. Alright, let's see how easy this goes in. That was pretty simple. Right on. Still clear it? Yeah, for the most part. Cool. Alright, well, I'm waiting for the auto parts store to open. Well, auto parts is open. I already went there. They don't have them. Let's see if the hardware store has them. Or I might call. There's another hardware store, but 15 minutes away. I mean, auto parts store. Boy, I can't talk this morning. Anyway, I want these push plugs to go in there and fill that. This is just a touch small. It'll grab, but with vibration and stuff, it'd wind up popping out, and this one's too big. So I need one right in between. You know, kind of like they have plugging this hole. I want one to plug that hole. And I may wind up needing one for this. We'll see after the tire's on. So I'm going to grab a couple of them when I find them. Okay, so this hole is oval. So the little nylon push plugs that you find to put in there, I couldn't find any rubber ones. These ones feel like they're rubber. My local auto parts didn't have one. The hardware store had these nylon ones. And you either have one that's too small, which is like what I already had, or one that's just a little bit too big, width-wise. and then I couldn't get it to go in. It's like, well, if I force it in, it'll elongate it and make it fit better. And I don't know if it shows in the camera, but the thing is kind of oval now. So I took my heat gun and I warmed the thing up and made it real warm. Then I was able to get it to go in after I fought it for a long time. But that's in there now, and it feels pretty solid. So I don't think that's going to come out. So now I can start putting this on finally. Yep, this will all work. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab some Loctite and put on those bolts right there. So I'll go ahead and put all those in, kind of snug it a little bit, make sure that these holes still line up. Then I'll torque that outside one to 19 and then open it up, torque these inside ones to 19. Something I didn't really like about the instructions, it says to manufacture spec. It would have been nice if they had looked that up and found it and put it in the print. I did a little research last night on the internet and find what the torque spec is. So there's 19 on these and 15 on these. So I'll go ahead and get these in and show you next step. Okay, I got those torqued to 19. These get torqued to 15, but first, you see the wrinkle in my tape. It might not show in the camera. And I got a little bit of misalignment on these bolts here. So I'm going to raise it up and then snug it. See if I can get my hand in here underneath. I did it earlier, but when I really need to, who knows. Okay. That held that. Yeah, those look lined up way better. This side over here. Yeah, tailgate's still in line. And that's right in there. Okay, so I'll go ahead and snug all those up. Alright, we can tailgate all the way up. That's good. Now see if it'll close. Beautiful. Alright, that's working. So, next we'll be putting this plate on here. Okay, I got all these torqued, and they shorted me 2 flat washers, so I had to go through my stuff and found a couple of stainless steel ones. Tire on there, you'll never see them, so that don't matter. And then I got to at least snug this up and do a test fit on the tire. But I really don't want to have to lift that big tire up here twice and you know, do a test fit and then have to take it off to tighten it. So I'm considering just tighten these things down and hope that I figured everything right. And if it's not, then I'll back them off and redo it. Okay, it's on. When I look across the top of the tire, straight across the top of the tire, it's right around the bottom of the mirror. And then down here, I've got some room in the bumper. But if you're out off-roading, and you drop off of something, you know, this makes it so the departure angle is this. Comes down more, than the departure angle is even flatter. And if you're real confident that you're going to be dragging that thing, let the air out of it. You should always carry a pump with you anyway. You can put the air back in it. That way, if you drop off something and you hook it on a rock or something, instead of ripping your tailgate off of there and your tire and everything, the tire can flex. So, see how it opens? Swings pretty good. Goes over there and stops. See how it closes. Looks pretty decent. Feels pretty decent. I open it up out here and that snubber is just touching it. And I put the flashlight down in it, and these knobbies on the side of the tire are touching on this. And when I was tightening up the bolt, there was some resistance, so the tire is pushing into that, so that's helping to hold it. So then I got this wire here. I can stick through that hole, and then I can make a mount for this. Okay, so with these double-headed, those go in and they're threaded in here, I made this template, and I could make a plate that'll bolt on there, and then have the bolt holes in this to put the light right in the center. So that would locate the light right there, which I think would look pretty clean. And then if we were ever to do a license plate elimination deal, I could make a new plate that goes here, and the light could go up high, and a license plate could go below it and be right in the middle. So I'll do that at some point. Let's see, 11:24. Yeah, I don't think I have time to do it today. So we're getting this on because we're going up over the mountain. Little getaway weekend. Okay, well that wraps up the Smittybilt pivot heavy duty oversized tire carrier. We'll see how it holds up. As far as the build quality, it don't look too bad. I wish that they came with maybe a thin gasket that went behind this stuff. But you know, when this piece is cast, you got all of this area here and the edges across here to about here on this part is touching the paint. So over time that's gonna rub the paint off, but there's spots from the factory. It's actually, I could see a different color right there, but there's a little spot from the factory cover that actually messed up some of the paint too. So the tailgate and this piece shouldn't be moving separately, but you know how things go. And these here, you can take these out and you got threaded holes right there. So if you want to put accessory on here, I think they have a high lift jack mount that you can put there. I don't know what other accessories that they have, but I eliminated all of the brake light bracket. So that's, you got this piece of steel and this heavy piece of steel and then this piece of steel. Those aren't too bad. That's a lot of stuff I eliminated off there. You know, makes it a little bit lighter, looks cleaner. So anyway, I guess that's about it for this one. I hope that was helpful for you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. You got any questions, go ahead and comment below, and we'll catch you on the next one. Quick walk around. Got the new 35-inch Maxxis Razor MTs on there. Huge difference compared to what was on there. It only had it's like a 3310. This is a 3512, and seems to drive better. It likes the extra width. No rubbing at all. Only has a 2.5-inch lift. It's probably going to go a little bit higher later. It would look better, but low is good for stability. Anyway, my wife wants it to go a little higher, so eventually I'll do that. Have not tried pulling the boat yet. Driving around with just the bigger tires, it seems to be doing just fine. But I know when you put a boat on, you're probably going to wind up having to slip the clutch to take off, especially if you wind up having to stop at the top of that driveway. So I think gears would be the smart next move, but who knows what the next move will be. Anyway, there's your walk around. Until next time.